Robert Jenrick sat in two different studios this morning in front of two different journalists and gave almost word for word the same answers to the same questions. Same lines about Nigel being an old friend and having friends, and the same line about this being a very old story. Same complaint about a Sunday Times backing Labour, and the same pivot to Andy Burnham. He clearly learned it overnight, and he delivered it twice, like a man doing two performances of the same play. And on the second performance, he actually confirmed the story that he had been sent out to deny. So what's this all about? Well, a new scandal broke this morning. And yes, it's Farage and money again. George Cottrell, a long-time friend of Farage and ally who pleaded guilty to wire fraud in the US in 2017 and served 8 months for it, allegedly funded Farage's operation in the year before he became an MP. Staff who ran his social media, security and the use of a rented townhouse near Buckingham Palace. Farage registered exactly one benefit from Cottrell when he became an MP, a £9,253 trip to Belgium. He later added a $15,276 domestic flight to the US. Nothing else from Cottrell appears on the register. Reform's line, delivered identically to both broadcasters, was it's baseless, it's contrived, and it's a Labour-backing newspaper trying to drag Nigel down, and no rules are broken whatsoever. So here's where it stops being spin and starts being admission.
Did George Cottrell pay for any of Nigel Farage's staff in 2024?
Before he became a Member of Parliament, yes, absolutely.
He did.
And that's but this is important, but you're sort of papering over that. That's a very important point.
So that's clearly not a denial, that's a yes. Koonsberg asks the same thing about security seconds later and gets the same shape of an answer.
But Robert Jenrick, you yourself said recently that there were legitimate questions around Nigel Farage's financial arrangements.
Well, I said that journalists can ask questions.
Right.
So
let's try and get some more answers.
These are not legitimate questions.
You can of course answer them in any way you wish.
Have been broken here.
Did George Cottrell pay for Nigel Farage's security in 2024?
Before he became a Member of Parliament, yeah. This is
Yes, but before he was an MP. So it doesn't count. Jenrick isn't disputing what happened, he's disputing whether he needs it declaring. And those are completely different arguments. Reform having been letting people assume it's the first one. Now compare that to how he handled Trevor Phillips a few hours earlier on the exact same question.
Is it true that this convicted criminal has been paying for Mr Farage's security or not?
This is a very old story that has been...
Well, it doesn't matter whether it's true or not.
It's an old story that's been dredged up by the Sunday Times, which let's remember is a Labour-supporting newspaper.
I don't think they think that, but...
but
you're not even answering my question.
They backed the Labour Party in the last general election.
Is it true or is it not true?
He's an old friend of Nigel's, and he's supported him in the past before Nigel was even a Member of Parliament. He has no formal role within Reform.
Now on Sky he hedges, I believe it's in the story. On the BBC he just says yes. Same man, same morning, same fact, two different postures depending on how hard the question was pushed. That's not someone stating a settled truth, that's someone testing how much they can get away with in each room. And then there's the line that should genuinely worry Reform.
What's confusing about this issue of security is that Nigel Farage said that the money from Christopher Harborne was for his personal security.
But that came after this, Laura.
So you are convinced that absolutely nothing has gone wrong here?
Absolutely no rules have been broken.
And this kind of blows Farage's whole $5 million for security out of the water. He claimed that that was paid for by Christopher Harborne, the gift currently under formal Parliamentary Standards investigation. And yet here we are, Jenrick's just confirmed live on air that Cottrell was already covering his security before that $5 million arrived. So which was it? Was the security already funded? In which case, was the $5 million, what was it for? Or wasn't it? In which case, why did Jenrick just say Cottrell was paying for it? Jenrick didn't get tripped into that by a clever question, he just volunteered the timeline himself while trying to explain away a different point. And in doing so, he's handed Koonsberg, and now us, the contradiction on a plate. Now, the defence of both interviews lean on hardest is that Farage wasn't a politician yet, so none of this counts. He was a private citizen, not even considering standing for Parliament, somebody in the private world. And yes, all that is true, but there is a problem with it. During the entire period that Cottrell was allegedly funding the staff and security, the year running up to Farage's election in July of 2024, Farage owned 53% of Reform Party UK Limited, a controlling majority shareholding. He wasn't dabbling in media commentary as a private citizen with a passing interest in politics. He owned the company running the political party. That arrangement didn't change until February of 2025, when ownership transferred to Reform 2025 Limited. And you can call that a lot of things, but not being involved in politics isn't one of them. Majority owning a political party isn't one of them. Now, while we're on the subject of Farage, the ordinary bloke standing up for the working people, Koonsberg raised a detail that Jenrick didn't really want to engage with. Farage reportedly earned £275,000 for 12 hours work. Now, I've actually covered this in an earlier video about second jobs, so if you haven't seen that one, make sure you do check it out. They'll be linked at the end of this video. But I do like the way that Koonsberg actually raises this herself.
But your message to the country is that you are the party standing up for working people.
Well, why?
That's a contradiction, is it not? Your
No,
message is all about working people
if that
and the amounts of money.
Laura, why have we ahead in 350 opinion polls? Why do all of the polls show that the body of support out there for reform are working people?
Which brings us to the actual tactic itself. Because once you see it, you can't really unsee it. Ask Jenrick about Cottrell, he pivots to Andy Burnham. Ask about the 5 million, he pivots to Andy Burnham. Ask about the by-election losses and he pivots to opinion polls. Just trying to get a straight answer out of him, Trevor Phillips seems to appear to lose his rag with him a little.
Nigel, and that's reform.
3 minutes ago, you told me that Nigel Farage is going to be the next Prime Minister.
Yes.
So people watching this programme want to know who their next Prime Minister is going to be. What is this person really? Who are his friends? Who is he influenced by? So let's just deal with him and not the person that you're saying is not going to be next.
Let me just say it, Joe. It's an important point.
Let me ask you a
I'm just saying that the media seem to be fixated on Nigel.
I don't care about
constantly trying to knock him. It's not working.
I don't
because the public can see through it.
Hang about a bit. Hang about. When you say the media's fixated with Nigel Farage, well, why not? You've just told me he's going to be the next Prime Minister. And by the way, when people come in here, I talk to them about their party, not about some other party. So let's just deal with Mr. Nigel Farage. The ordinary
Let's talk about the things that people actually care about.
Well, let me tell you what they care about. Because I actually do spend a lot of time
so do I. I can assure you, Trevor.
Being lectured by people on the buses and the tubes. And one of the things they will care about is seeing Britain's next Prime Minister in the company, day after day, of a man who has been convicted of money laundering. It's not a good look, is it?
He's an old friend of Nigel's.
No.
He has no role...
I don't care if he's an old friend. He's been convicted of money laundering.
He has no role within the reform. There's no story here, Trevor.
What the next Prime Minister... Oh, really? You don't mind what our next Prime Minister... who our next Prime Minister hangs out with? You don't care about that.
Trevor, this is
people out there do.
Trevor,
if it was Andy Burnham, you would be.
Well, no one's
scrutinising
scrutinising anything to do with Andy Burnham at the moment. The man's just, drifting into number 10 with no scrutiny. We've seen where that's gone in the past. It happened with Keir Starmer and Rachel Reeves. Total disaster.
At least acknowledge.
No,
for
Trevor,
the average person,
you're wrong.
There is a question to be asked.
You're wrong. With respect for you, Trevor, you're wrong.
And Jenrick's response, just please stop being mean to Nigel. So here's the thing about that particular complaint. If a spokesman has to say, why are you so fixated on my leader, twice in one morning on 2 different channels in response to 2 different journalists asking about the same scandal, then the problem really isn't about media obsession. The problem is that there's now 2 live stories about how your leader's money works, and you don't have a good answer for either of them. Nobody drags a story out for months by being deliberately vague about it unless the plain answer is worse than the vagueness. Reform says there's nothing to see here, and yet their own Treasury spokesperson, Robert Jenrick, twice on the record on the same morning said otherwise. He just didn't realise he was doing it.